want to stay in this element of walking light because we live in a heavy world. And I talk to a lot of women who always be like, girl, life. Oh my goodness. Life. Oh my goodness. And if that is you, listen, I get it. I hear you and I see you. And I am called to help you, okay? Navigate, guide through that place of life wearing you out and frustrating you and leaving you exhausted to where you be like, hey, life, I see you, homie, and I'm good, right? This is possible. And a lot of times we believe that it's not. So let's talk about this mindset of what's truly a promise, okay? Because you're out here forfeiting promise. And on my watch, we're not going to do that, okay? We're not going to forfeit promise. I am Alexis Piper, womanhood mastery mentor, lifestyle coach and strategist, also a speaker. And I am here to guide you into purposeful living from a more prosperous being. Listen, our core cultivation framework is designed to condition those opposing, resistant, and rebellious, okay, elements that are happening within you, because those are the things that's denying you of the promise, okay? They denying you, they keeping you in deceit, and they are making you delusional to the element that the promise can be your everyday reality. So let's get into it. Listen, the facet of truth that has to override current reality is real. And I know sometimes when you're buried in your reality, how many realists do I have out there? Okay. When you're buried in your reality, it's hard to see beyond that because you have identified yourself as a part of that's just my reality. See, the identity is anchored in what you are deeming is real. But there is a higher perspective for you to begin to get curious about. Curiosity is a brilliant thing, okay? When it's anchored in you perceiving beyond your current realities and coming into the finer form of divine perspective. See, divine perspective will support you in seeing beyond reality because the curiosity will cause you to question what is happening here. How can I navigate this differently? How can I distinguish myself from what has always been to begin to align my identity with what I am being formed and fashioned into? See, the forming and fashioning isn't always negative. You don't always have to be triggered negatively. Like there can be things that trigger you to a sin. There can be things that triggers the curiosity that cause you to answer the call for more than what your reality is. So identity should no longer be buried in your reality. Can we just pause right there for a moment and take a breath? Okay. Your identity should not only be diminished to your everyday reality. There is a whole nother side of the mountain, okay? There is a whole nother possibility that's waiting for you to get curious about. And when you begin to say, okay, you know what? Enough is enough. Like there has to be more. And I believe if you're watching this video, you have felt that. You have thought that. But Miss Realist in you makes you shrink that. And what shrinking does, it causes you to settle. It causes you to settle in what you are familiar with. Hence why your identity has to grow beyond what you know about yourself and what you know about your experiences. So how do we cross the side of the street? How do we get to that other side of the street? Because this side of the street is where the realist lives. See, the other side of the street is where promise lives, okay? And I want you to believe that the streets can merge. Listen, you don't have to be out here thinking like you got to have like two separate lives, okay? No, this is a parallelism, okay? This is where they're going to intersect, all right? The promise intersects with your everyday reality to where you are navigating your everyday realities from a more prosperous state of being. The core of woman can get conditioned to learn the beauty and benefits of promise being woven beautifully in your everyday life. So the realist in you begins to get curious about how the promise can help support and anchor you. Okay? And so this level of support and this level of anchoring will begin to elevate you in your identity. See, when a woman begins to get curious about her identity of no longer just subjecting herself to this is just how I am, but getting curious enough to say, well, God, who are you calling me to be? What is this situation that I'm in? What is the higher dimension that is causing me to come and get curious about? Like, what is the higher renewed, restored mentality that I need to have to navigate this with a different perspective, with a different heart posture, with a different language? Because how you see yourself is the mirror in which you're going to do any and everything. How you see yourself is the mirror in which you're going to do everything. What we see, we reflect. Okay? So if you hold up the mirror to yourself and all you see is your reality and you're not trying to engage with the curiosity, then you're going to dwell where you should be delivered. You want deliverance, okay? You don't want to dwell where it's time for a breakthrough. You don't want to dwell in a version of yourself that's only a reflection of your past and prior and present. You want the deliverance that unlocks the door and that invites you in, that holds your hand and gives you the, okay, daughter, listen, there is beauty in this thing. There is beauty that comes from your ashes. There is brilliance that I want you to behold, but it's birthed in deliverance. It's not birthed in you dwelling in this mirror that you keep seeing yourself in. It is now time to say, God, who are you creating me to be? And then you lean into that, okay? You lean into that. But I'm here to tell you that there's going to be opposition, okay? There's going to be opposition because your number one rival of the principalities that are forming against you, they want you to dwell. They only want you to see in the mirror in which you have always looked. They don't want you to see from the next dimension of yourself. When you tap into that next dimension, oh baby, you encounter the deliverance. And the deliverance will give you the liberty to lead and be able to have a way that you begin to walk light. You see, because the world is heavy. But there is a way that the woman in the world can still walk light. That's the intersection. That's the parallelism, okay? And that's the beautiful blend when you tap into curiosity. So what do you need to get curious about? Let's lay out your laundry list of your reality. Let's just face it and not suppress it, okay? Let's just face it and not suppress it. Let's just face it and not suppress it. Because the more you suppress it, the more you tiptoe and around your own deliverance. The more you suppress it, the more you allow the heaviness of the world and of your reality, the mirror in which you're looking in, to rule you. So don't suppress it. Let's face it, okay? You busying yourself, talking about this is my reality, this is my truth, when there's a whole nother truth that's saying, hello, I'm over here. Don't ignore it because you feel unworthy. Don't ignore it because you think it's not possible. This is your permission. Let this video be your permission. Let the voice that you are hearing be your permission to say, I have a permission slip from heaven to get curious about what God wants to expose me to now. Because you're basing the exposure you've had on how things were. It's buried in your reality. Remember, there's a new mirror. There's the beauty of the blend that's going to come in when you get curious on who is the woman that God is calling me to be now. now. See, stop postponing the progression that is waiting for you. Stop postponing and rationalizing and reasoning your way out of your own forward movement. We can come up with all the reasons in the world, but the reality is the building still needs to be built. The reality is the woman still needs to be nurtured. The reality is your core still needs to be conditioned beyond what you are saying is your reality, your reasoning, and your rationale. We understand it. We get it, okay? But come higher. Let's flourish. Let's flourish because this facade that you've established your life around with the strong face and the poise and the professional demeanor, I see behind it. And it's time to break down the walls so that we can rebuild them from a solid foundation of promise. Of promise. The promise is your portion. So you can stop protecting your peace and just start partaking in the promise. Listen, you putting too much on your load. You making yourself even more heavy than the world is by trying to protect what's already the promise. And you just have to partake. You just have to say, I'm going to get curious enough to partake. And I'm going to release myself from the load of having to protect. Listen, walk light. Walk light. Walk light. Protecting what is already promised. You walking heavy because it's dependent on you. It's you still. When you partake, you're just reaching and engaging and experiencing what is a gift. Listen, Linda. Y'all remember that? Listen, Linda. Listen, okay? Elevate that perspective. Elevate that perspective so that your identity can start functioning in the domain of above only. Above only domain for your womanhood gets the permission slip to walk light in a heavy world. Functioning in the domain of an elevated perspective from an elevated identity lets you know that I am better than, do you remember that video? I am better than walking around here heavy, downtrodden, bent over inwardly. Because I'm saying yes to everything outwardly. Who am I talking to? It is time to awaken and see life through a new lens. The lens of promise, the lens of permission, and the lens of it is possible for you. Not just for them, for you. Are you going to answer the call for more? Or are you going to keep dwelling in your current reality? I mean, you got two choices. Which choice are you going to activate? Because only one will awaken you to the deliverance that your soul is crying and thirsty for. Listen. Choose the highest perspective. Choose to answer the call for more. It is the distinguishing factor for your femininity to function in its finer form. It is the distinguishing factor for you to navigate life purposefully, intentionally, deliberately, not haphazardly. Okay? I love you too much to leave you in the state that you're in, says the Father, the one true living God. Partner with me. Partner with me. Partner with me and let me usher you into liberty. Let me usher you into faith, femininity, and freedom. Let me usher you into your own prayer requests. But I'm going to need you to partake. I'm going to need you to believe that the promise is available for you too. I am going to need you to believe that I am for you and not against you. I'm going to need you to look into the mirror and say, God, who are you creating me to be? Instead of, why do you have me in this situation? Come higher, daughter. I'm trying to water you. I'm trying to nurture you. I'm trying to nourish you. And I need for you to lean on me and stop being so misindependent that you're forfeiting your own deliverance. I need you to stop being so misindependent that you are robbing yourself of your own inheritance. Let your misindependent self and your misrealist self discover a higher perspective. Tap into the realm in which I live and let us commingle together. Let me become one with you. Let me be your leading man. Let me be the one who provides. Let me be the one who covers you. Let me be the one who tends to your wastelands. Let me be the one who walks with you through your wilderness. Let me be the one to teach you a new governing system for this heavy world that you're in. Will you partner with me to partake? Or do you still want to keep protecting? Where has that got you? It's time to shift. It is time to flourish. And I'm just sent through this video today to remind you, come higher. Destiny and your deliverance is calling. It's time for you to discover, homegirl, how to walk light. What are you going to do about it?